Hello, Nebraskans. It's Jeannie with Nebraskans for Founders Values. And we started to do these little podcasts so you can get to know great people across the state that are doing amazing work to try to save our state and save our children. And today I have Loan Eby with me, and she's out of Omaha. And if you don't know her, you need to know her because what she is doing with education and like digging through how things work, digging through rules. She has got it figured out, and she's going to share with us today what she's been doing with education and what she has found out, and actually give you ways that you can impact if you've had issues in education. So welcome, Loan.
Oh, thank you so much for that kind education or introduction.
Awesome.
So yeah, just whatever you want me to talk about, just ask me questions and I'll be glad to share my perspective.
Awesome. Well, we're going to first go into, so I met Loan, oh gosh, it's maybe been a month ago or whatever. And it was actually when she was kind of part of a filing that they filed a lawsuit against Southeast Community College because they are still requiring vaccinations for their students in the health fields. And there was a lawsuit, and that's how I met Loan. And I don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
really know where that lawsuit is at yet,
Oh,
Loan.
yeah. Well, I think, okay, so I am actually part of Make Americans Free Again, and I am the state leader of MAFA Nebraska. And what we do is we meet in small groups on a regular basis, and we are trying to build a parallel society so that if something like what happened the last 4 years happens again, we will have people at a local level that we can turn to for support. That's one aspect of what we do. And then the other aspect is we fundraise to challenge vague laws as well as get justice for the victims that there's, we're all victims, but there's victims at different degrees. And so MAFA is filing lawsuits to get justice to punish the perpetrators that did this to us, basically. And one of the things that one of the lawsuits that we're supporting is the lawsuit against Southeast Community College for the plaintiff, Hannah Fisher. She was in the nursing program and she did not want to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And so they effectively expelled her, and she which was really unfortunate. Hannah's such a lovely person. And so that's one of the lawsuits that we are supporting. And the other thing that we're demanding is within the lawsuit is the Nebraska Department of Education stop promoting Max the Vax. So the NDE, if you go to maxthevax.org, they are still promoting these COVID-19 vaccines. And so if there's anyone in Nebraska, if you're a parent and you felt coerced into getting this, or you felt coerced into having your child get this COVID vaccine and they are injured physically or mentally, please contact me. There possibly is legal help available. So just send them my way, or if you know of anybody. So yeah, that's how you and I met. And
Right.
you came to my house, and it was just so lovely to hear your
It was,
perspective on things. So
it
I
was,
made a new friend.
yes, it's awesome. This whole movement, that's one great thing is we've made great friends. So,
Yes.
so when I stopped at Lowen's house, she was showing me this great research that she was doing. Um, and it happens to be on some of the rules in education and holding certificate holders, meaning teachers, accountable. And Lowen was showing me where there's some serious issues with people that could be teaching your children that have maybe they've been charged with assault, but then they still have their license and nothing's happened to them, and it's been 2 years later. So, Lowen, can you tell everybody kind of what you stumbled upon with these rules and how that works in the classroom and how, bad teachers could be teaching their children?
Oh, exactly, exactly. Oh, I will be happy to do that. Okay, so in the state of Nebraska, a teacher is required to have a active teaching certificate. Okay, so to apply for and the teachers work really hard to get their degrees and to be able to teach. And so what happens is they apply for a teaching certificate under Rule 21. Okay, so under the Title 92 of the Nebraska Administrative Code, Chapter 21 is the requirements to get a teaching certificate. In addition to that, it also is required, those are the requirements for administrators and superintendents, as well as special services. Okay. So once the teacher gets the teaching certificate, they have to follow Rule 27, which is effectively the code of conduct for a certificate holder. Okay. It's no different than when CPAs get their CPA license. They have to follow their code of conduct. Their attorneys, uh, medical doctors. So the teaching certificate is the same thing. So there's a code of conduct, and that is listed under Rule 27. And then if you go on to the Nebraska Department of Education, it outlines what moral turpitude is. So basically, it's acts that are dishonest, or in a society it's frowned upon, acts of moral turpitude. Okay. So what I have noticed, and on the moral turpitude website of the NDE, you can actually look up discipline certificate holders that have had discipline actions tied to them. What I discovered, however, is there are certificate holders that have made the news that have committed felonies, and they're going through the court process. So you've got the criminal actions, which is completely different than Rule 27. Okay, and people need to understand that Rule 27 is tied to the certificate, and then all criminal actions are criminal actions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I found examples in which certificate holders have been convicted or charged of felonies, but they still hold an active teaching certificate. So if school districts or administrators or assistant superintendents that hire certificate holders, if they're not doing their due diligence, they could effectively hire active certificate holders that do not have any discipline filings on them. And they could be in your school district in classrooms with your children. One example is Avery Rhodes. He was charged, I believe, in June or July of 2023 for 4 felony counts, one of sexual, child sexual abuse and incest. And his trial is April 2024, so a month and a half from now. And if you look up his name, Avery Rhodes, he has an active teaching certificate.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
just
It's
appalling.
it's very, very troubling, in my opinion.
So Lone, I just don't know how this is possible. So being in the health, being a healthcare professional myself, we go through all the licensing. Anybody, a doctor, I'm a pharmacist, right? And so
Okay.
we hold these licenses, and if there's ever a complaint or you're failing, if you had something happen to you, the board would find out about that pretty quick, and something would happen. You'd be suspended or something in a pretty quick amount of time, maybe a
Mhm.
month, probably a month.
Mhm.
So I just don't know how that can be happening in education, that this is all going. And maybe you can tell us how this is going this way and where the backlog is for something to happen.
Well, okay, so that's thank you for asking that question. I think that people do not realize that you can actually file a complaint against the teaching certificate holder. Okay, so how that works, and it's all on if you Google the just Department of Education moral turpitude, it takes you right to the website, and it takes you through all of the rules, all of the information that you could ever want to know is right on that website. Okay. Um, I think one of the things that we are lacking is that people just don't know what they don't know. And so anybody who has an interest in the certificate holder can file a complaint against the certificate holder. And so the investigation process, the first thing that that happens is the complaint is filed against the certificate holder with the Nebraska Department of Education Commissioner. Okay, so so that process is under Rule 28, the certificate investigation process. And so the commissioner holds a lot of authority in the sense that when you file a complaint against a certificate holder with the commissioner, he or she determines if you have tried to address your grievance at a local level. Okay, so the local level is actually the superintendent, the board of education, the principal, whoever you need to address your grievance with. Okay. And so if you filed a complaint with the certificate holder to the commissioner, in some cases, they will ask you, did you try to manage it at the local level? And then one of their options is to dismiss your complaint without prejudice. Okay. So this is actually a legal process. All right. And so without prejudice means that they'll give you an opportunity to address your grievance at the local level if nothing happens. A lot of times these school board members will ignore you. The superintendents will ignore you. I mean, we've seen a lot of that recently. And so you can file that same complaint with the NDE commissioner and prove I've tried to address it at the local level. I was ignored. And so I'm back with you now. Okay. But people don't know what the process is. And that's what my goal is to inform people of the process, what your options are, what you can do, and basically to protect children and students, or students and teachers, because teachers, they again have invested a lot of time and resources to get their teaching degrees, and they want to teach, and we want those teachers that are ethical, moral, good at what they do to be in our classrooms in front of our students. And then those teachers that are the opposite of that, who have committed acts of moral turpitude, we do not want them in front of our kids and I mean, we just don't. The other thing that I think that is important is we've got a liability issue here. If the local school boards are not taking care of these complaints or addressing it at the local level, we're talking about possible litigation and liability issues at the local school board levels.
Yeah.
And so I just don't think that people are fully understand the seriousness of this.
Loan, do you have any idea how many cases the commissioner dismisses, or does the commissioner dismiss any? Do you know?
You know what? And you had suggested, you had sent an email about a possible public records request, and I think that is very good. I did take that into consideration, and I just I'm trying to craft it to get that data. Okay, and so I don't know if with public records requests, when you make a public records request, it has to be an actual record. And so, because I was thinking about that, and because the custodian of the record, they can't make records that don't exist. And so to answer that question, I don't know at this time, but it can be asked with a public records request.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then if a person or a parent or a student didn't resolve it at a local level, and then they go to the commissioner, and then he says, okay, there is something here, he's not going to dismiss it, then where does it go?
Okay, so I just want to clarify something. Anybody that has an interest in the certificate holder can file a complaint against the certificate holder. Does that make sense? So it's not confined to a parent or a student. It's anybody that has an interest.
Oh,
Does that make
that
sense?
opens it up to the public.
Correct. Correct.
Oh,
Because the certificate holder administrators are being paid with public funds. Exactly. Yep. And just people just don't know. And I want to if my dog starts barking and it's captured, I want to apologize in advance. Okay. I love my dogs.
we
They're
love
so
animals.
okay, yeah, they're just okay. So I tried to confine them and his name's Marshall, and so he's here and I love him, but I just can't I can't tell when he's going to lose his mind or what.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
but yeah, so anybody that has an interest can file a complaint.
so
Okay,
if they were maybe somebody that had maybe some proof or something, or they saw something that a teacher or coach or
yes.
somebody did inappropriately, they could file a complaint.
Correct, correct. And that
Wow,
goes
that's good
back
to
to the
know.
moral, yeah, that goes back to the moral turpitude website. And I do want to let you know that I am doing workshops on this very subject. And I will be more than happy to conduct these workshops face to face or via Zoom so that I can share my research and my due diligence with whoever is interested. And I also want to provide you with a disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I am a citizen that likes to do research and share my information with whoever is interested. So that's the disclaimer. And I encourage people to do their own research and due diligence.
Loan, you are just like the screen person, the billboard person of how do you take back your own power? Like that is what it is. It's people don't know how much power they have until you start researching and you look at the laws, and then that's how you take back your power.
Absolutely. I think of it as, remember the movie, because I didn't read the book, The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy discovers that in the Emerald City, what was his name? The Oz.
Oh yeah.
When she peels back the curtain and it's just this little man that that doesn't really have the power that she perceived that he had. Yeah, we had the power, and we still have the power all along. So yeah,
Yeah.
I anybody who is willing to spend the time to allow me to share the information that I have come across, I'll be happy to do that.
That's going to be great. Loan, you're going to help so many people.
Oh yeah, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. What was so funny was the last 4 years with this whole debacle is what or fraud is what I like to call it. The silver lining is that I have become a citizen journalist, a citizen researcher, a podcaster,
Yeah,
an
now
event
we're
planner. I mean,
podcasters
it's like
too.
I would have never, I would have, I would have never thought that I would do this. I mean, I've done presentations in front of 50 to 100 people. I mean, I would have never done that in a previous life. It's like, but I enjoy it because I just feel, I just feel like I'm doing good and right is right and wrong is wrong. And what is happening in our schools, what is happening to our teachers and our children is wrong.
It is wrong. It is
It is
wrong.
wrong.
So now obviously I do a lot of legislative stuff. So I kind of want to turn a little bit to, filing a complaint against a certificate holder. But
Uh-huh.
then it brings it up to professional practices. And so there was a bill, LB 1306, in
Mm-hmm.
the legislature, and it was going to eliminate professional practices. And um, this is now on general file. And it
Okay.
is a speaker priority bill. So that means that that's going to move up the list, how quickly it can be heard.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure. I heard you testify on that bill, and it was
Yep.
great. And I actually heard a person that's actually on the professional practices, a teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what town he was from, but he said, "Oh, he loves what he does." He said he would meet at any time. He would listen to
Mm-hmm.
anything, and he thinks what, being part of professional practices is a very good thing. And so
It
I
is
heard,
a very good thing.
yeah. So tell me about professional practices.
Okay. All right. Okay. So my understanding of the Nebraska Professional Practices Commissions is it is a 12-person commission appointed by the governor. okay? And so all of the commissioners are teachers, administrators, okay? And they serve I believe it's a 3-year term. So the PPC actually has a website. So all you have to do is just type in Nebraska Professional Practices Commission. And one of the things that they do is they educate certificate holders, educators on basically the Rule 27, the code of conduct, okay? And they also conduct hearings at the request, at the discretion of the Nebraska Department of Education Commissioner. So they only hear cases that the NDE commissioner gives to them. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
And when they hear cases, when they conduct hearings, the respondent, which is the person that the petition, which is it's basically a legal document like a complaint, but it's called a petition. The respondent can have an attorney if they want to, but it is a legal hearing. So it's basically a hearing or a jury of your peers. Okay. And so you've got just like you said that you're a pharmacist and you have a license. If a complaint was ever filed against you, you're entitled to a hearing
Mhm.
and to defend yourself. And that is the certificate holder's opportunity. And they can have an attorney represent them if they want to, or they can waive a hearing, whatever the case is. But the NPPC is only they only have authority to do a reprimand or an admonishment. Okay. And if after the hearing they feel like it is appropriate to refer the case to the Nebraska State Board of Education,
Right.
that will go to Rule 29. And so the State Board of Education has the authority to revoke the certificate holder's license. Okay. So going back to LB 1306, it was glaringly clear to me that the Education Committee had no idea what the Nebraska Professional Practices Commission does.
Wow.
It seemed like they had no idea what Rule 27 was. And so again, it's very unfortunate that if they are going to repeal or eliminate the PPC and the uh, what that bill is proposing is to have a single person appointed for the hearings.
Right.
Okay. So think about this. Would you prefer to have one person be your judge and jury, or would you prefer to have a jury of your peers who knows what you do day in and day out, who knows what the works, what the challenges are, what the benefits are, all of that stuff? Would you prefer one person to hear your case or a jury of your peers?
The jury of your peers, of
I
course.
would, every day of the week and twice on Sunday, I would prefer to
Yeah.
have a hearing in front of my peers.
Right.
Okay. So the PPC serves a very important function. And for whoever, and I believe it was the current commissioner, he actually um, the senator that introduced the bill, was that Lanahan or
Oh, I didn't look at
so whoever, okay, so the inception of the bill was at the request of the NDE commissioner, okay?
okay.
And so it wasn't the education committee said, hey guys, we've got all of these this backlog, and so we need to eliminate the PPC, because remember, the Professional Practices Commission only schedules hearings at the bequest or at the discretion of the commissioner. And they are willing to meet I think currently they meet once a quarter. Because I attended a PPC meeting, and they're lovely people. I mean, it just the commissioners volunteer their time. They get reimbursed for expenses, but that's it. That's it.
Mhm.
Okay. And there is an executive person that's very competent. I think I sent her an email I asked a question if the petition was public record, and the petition is, but the investigation actually is not. She responded within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who does that?
That's
Who
pretty
does
good.
that? Yeah. So if you're talking about cutting costs and eliminating a commission that is that donates their time and resources, um, I don't know if that's going to do it. So I don't know. I don't know why this bill was proposed, and it's unfortunate that they're making it a priority. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That's,
it's a disservice to the teachers and the
yeah.
certificate holders, in my opinion.
I actually at first, maybe before I talked to you, I maybe was thinking, oh, eliminating extra layers of government, right? If you're for a small government. But then the more and more I talked to you and we kind of like worked the whole process out, like, how does this work? And then we figured out where the actual backlog was at. I
Yep.
was thinking, you know what? You're right. I think this is really important to have the jury of your peers.
Oh, exactly. And the backlog is not at the PPC. The backlog possibly, my thesis is the backlog is at the commissioner level. Now, remember, the commissioner has the discretion pursuant to Rule 28 to have an investigation. He has a lot
Mhm.
of authority, okay?
Yeah.
I did a word search because I'm a nerd on Rule 28 and how many times the commissioner, the word the commissioner appeared. And I believe it was it was 61 times in
Wow.
that document, Rule 28. Okay. I mean, it's not good or bad, it's just the statistic, okay? But he does have the discretion to have an investigation, and then he does have the discretion to refer the case to the PPC or have it directly go to the State Board of Education. Okay. And even at the PPC level, if they refer the case to the state board with a recommendation, the State Board of Education, they do their own due diligence. They
Right.
look at the hearings, they look at the investigation, and they vote to make a determination of what to do with that case.
Right.
So we've got it's not a slam dunk. Whatever the commissioner, the PPC decides, that the board is going to vote uh, based on their recommendation.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just additional information. Yeah.
Wow. You laid out the process so nicely. So people
Oh,
should
thank
really
you.
know like how this whole thing works. And if you have a grievance there, this is how the process works. And I think most people had no idea. I had no
They,
idea until
I
we
had no
started
idea.
researching.
I had no idea. It's like, oh, hold up, what? And then again, what the system, our current educational system with the rules, we are all policing ourselves with this
Mhm.
process. We just don't know what the process is.
Right.
And just like what we discussed earlier, I think that if we all know what the process is, with our current laws and regulations and statutes, 90% of the things that are happening will be taken care of by itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so we can focus on what matters instead of all of the noise of all of this division and all of this stuff. Because whatever side of the aisle you're on, we want teachers that are not violating their code of conduct to be in the classroom teaching our children. We want teachers that do not discriminate for any reason. Teachers don't want to be discriminated against.
Right.
We want our tax dollars to be spent so that for public education, so that the student is getting a high quality education. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for
So
sure. For sure. On another note, there was another bill, and I don't know if you've taken a stand on it. It's an LR 278CA. And what that was going to do was going to change the membership of the State Board of Education, set to 7 members and 2 governor appointed. And so I
okay.
just am not sure why we would want to do that. I mean, here we have, the state board members are changing, right? There's a lot of ones that are not going to run again, and you've got some great candidates on there. So it's kind of flipping. I don't know if I see a reason to make a couple of those appointed, and change the numbers. What do you think?
You know, and I haven't really delved at the my focus is at the local school board level because I haven't delved with at the state level.
Sure.
And again, I don't know what the rationale is with that because my my thought is if it ain't broke, why fix it? Just
Hmm.
like with the PPC, that the commission has been around since I believe it was 1986 or something like that. And now they want to eliminate it. And just like with, I don't know when the State Board of Education was established, but now you want to change it. You know, it's, um, but just like what I said, our current system could very well be working as intended but we just don't know how to police ourselves and use current laws to do that. Um, the other thing that at the local level, okay, so we've got political school districts are political subdivisions, okay? So they have jurisdiction within their school district, all right? And the laws that they draft are policies. So the policies have to conform with current ordinances, statutes, and federal law, as well as court decisions. But if there is a policy that if there's no law, court decision, ordinance, then the school district can draft that policy. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of power at the local
There's a
school
lot of power
district.
at the local level, and people, I don't think realize, and again, that's how our current structure is. And so people running for local school boards is a very important job with a lot of responsibility. So even at the state level, if you've got, you know, if they change the composition at the state level, the school districts at the political subdivision level they still have their own jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And the Nebraska statute of the chapter related to schools is chapter 79. So all of those laws related to schools is chapter 79. And so at the state level, they have statutes that at the local level have to implement, and so that's a responsibility of the school districts to do that. So I don't know what you just proposed. I don't know how that would affect the at the local level. It might not even be that much.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is all local, and I'm glad to
It
hear you
is.
say that. And I'm sure everybody that's going to listen to this across the state is going to appreciate that you have so much power at the local. So
Absolutely.
when it seems hopeless and that it seems like this that there is no end in sight, that you know what, get on those local boards and then make a difference because it's your
Oh,
community.
it is absolutely your community. And I don't know if you want to talk about the lobbying.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I do want to talk about the lobbying. Loan, I almost forgot.
Okay. I was I was blown away about okay, so I've always followed the philosophy trust your gut,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
And since I attended the school board meetings in Papillion because I live in Papillion, um our we had a lobbyist called Catalyst Public Affairs, okay? And the district never had a lobbyist prior to our current superintendent. Okay, so the superintendent shows up, and then we have a lobbyist. Okay, and it just didn't feel right. All right, and so I started delving into that, and a lobbyist is a person that is hired to attempt to influence a legislative bill or resolution or whatever the laws are at the state level. Okay, our district pays a lobbyist $39,000 of public funds. Okay, and we're talking legislative sessions what happened just only 6 months. Okay, but the contract states that we pay the lobbyists for 12 months. And so 39K is 3250 or whatever it equates to every year. Okay. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. And so I started delving into the various lobbyists, the website that the Nebraska Accountability
Oh, yeah.
Disclosure Act, that has lobbying information, as well as the legislature website has a piece just for lobbying. Okay. So it didn't feel right to me that elected school board members are using public funds to pay a lobbyist to go to the state unicameral to try to influence legislative bills at the state level for other elected officials. I mean, the cognitive dissonance is there. I mean, seriously, it's like, okay, all right. And so, where was I going with that? Okay.
That they go and lobby, they're lobbying to get more taxpayer money, which it's all
Yeah.
taxpayer money. It's
And
like,
it's all taxpayer money. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just didn't feel right. And so how, and yes, I did go down that rabbit hole. And so, if you go to the website, it defines a lobbyist and a principal. Okay. And then, so the lobbyists have to file various reports. And one of the reports is the statement of activity. Okay. And it shows, so the principal hires the lobbyist. The principal tells the lobbyist what legislative bills to support, oppose, or be neutral on. Okay. The statement of activity is the report that outlines what position the lobbyist was instructed to take for the legislative bill. Okay. And to add insult to injury, the principal has to pay for our contract, has to pay the $200 filing fee for the lobbyist.
oh,
I know it is so incestuous. It's horrible. So I started, yeah. And then the actual lobbyist agreement, or the report, excuse me, talks about the person to whom the lobbyist reports to. In our case, it's the superintendent. Okay. Under Rule 27, the superintendent cannot interfere with any political activity, okay, or participate in political activity or school board actions. So him signing the contract for the lobbyist is in violation of Rule 27. Yeah. So
amen. Oh my
yeah, I mean,
word.
yeah. And so we have that. And so I'm looking into that because the Catalyst Public Affairs contract, you can terminate that within 30 days. And so I'm running for Papillion School Board, and if I get elected, which is a snowball's chance, okay? Because
Oh
they
no,
all know
we're
me.
gonna get you elected.
No, believe me, the community knows me. And but anyway, it's funny because I mean, I've taken a lot of arrows, and I honestly don't care, because even if I'm the last person standing with the position that I have, again, right is right and wrong is wrong. What is happening is wrong. So that's fine. So anyway, if I get elected, even if I don't get elected, I'm still going to pursue this because it is a violation of Rule 27.
Wow.
The superintendent cannot sign a contract with a lobbyist because it is in violation of Rule 27. And then if you stop and think about it, elected officials, it is not appropriate or ethical for elected officials to pay public funds to pay a lobbyist. You know what I mean? So
Correct.
again, people just don't know this. And in this day and age with inflation and interest rates, I mean, we have got to rein in the spending. And if we can reallocate $39,000 to the teachers and students,
Oh my
we should
gosh.
reallocate those funds to provide quality education for our students and our children.
So wow, Loan, that's pretty explosive on the lobbyists. So is it possible? I know there's something you can go on NDE and look at the spending by district. Is that where people in other districts can find out if their school is paying lobbyists?
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel, and it's
Oh, great.
Loan, and it's my last name, Eby, which is spelled Eby. I actually did a video last night because a dear friend of mine who's running for state school board asked me, how do I look up to see if my school district pays lobbyists and how much? And so I did a video last night, and it's called basically how to look up if your school district has a lobbyist. And so that is on my YouTube channel, and it's 14 minutes, so it's very easy to do. But yeah, one of the things that you need to know is, so all of this is public record because it's public funds, okay? So the lobbyist has to file reports, and the principal, which is the school board, has to file reports, okay? So the principal report tells you how much the school district is paying for the lobbyists. And then the lobbyist report tells how much in expenses and gifts and all of the statutes that they have to file. So that's the report. And then the statement of activity is the legislative bills that the principal, meaning the school district, is asking the lobbyist to take a position on. So in the case of,
So
I,
explosive.
don't get me started, okay? In the case of Papillion, the parental bill of rights and academic transparency, our district instructed the lobbyist to take a neutral position.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you look at your respective school district, you will not be happy. Yeah,
Oh,
you're not going
wow.
to be happy when you see all, especially the last 3 or 4 years of legislative sessions. I mean, think of all of the legislative bills that have been proposed in terms of tax cuts, in terms of tax increases, in terms of transparency, parental bill of rights and transparency. All of that stuff is, yeah, you're not going to be happy. I was
So
not
Loan,
happy.
I like to look because obviously I call us all the tax slaves, and my little hash line on all my posts is like free the tax slaves. So let me get this straight. So we're paying taxpayer dollars to give to a school to turn around and vote and lobby against what we want.
Correct. That is a very
Wow.
good way to put that. And then to add to that, okay, so we have that. Each school district is a member of the Nebraska Association of School Boards, okay? Every school district. So if you go to the Nebraska Association of School Boards, we pay association fees for that. And the NASB also has a government advocacy page, and they also have listed legislative bills to take a position on the various bills. So we've got a double whammy there, okay?
Oh my
Now the
goodness.
association, I can't do anything about or not I, but we can't really do anything about associations with respect to lobbyists, okay? But we can, so and again, this goes back to the school districts, and the school boards have a lot of power. The school boards can vote to not be members of the NASB. However, one of the things that I think is a benefit is the NASB lays out the legislative bills that are related to education in a organized way. Okay, I don't I don't like the fact that they have a thumbs up or a thumbs down on these bills, but I do like how that is organized, and the association fees are less than what you're paying for a lobbyist. In our case for Papillion, he's not doing that to the extent that the NASB is, as far as organizing the bills.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick your battles.
Oh my gosh. It's pretty in depth. I didn't know that about the K through 12 schools with the lobbyists. I did know like the university, the college system has that. And there's actually a senator, I believe it was Senator Halloran, that he has talked about this for years, that he had a huge issue that why the university is always coming asking for more money, and then all our taxpayer dollars are paying for lobbyists to come ask us for more taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very incestuous, and that's the exact same rationale as at the K through 12. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But I agree with you. We are tax slaves, and more than likely, Senator Holcroft's legislative bill that will ban special elections for bonds. Okay, do you remember
I
he
did see that. I
yeah.
haven't looked a lot into
More than
it.
like, if I see that our district is paying the lobbyist to oppose that bill, that
Oh,
that will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so,
and
yeah, it's so
it's very
infuriating
incestuous.
sometimes.
Yeah. It is infuriating, but again, we can do this. We can manage the runaway spending and provide a quality education for our students and the taxpayers that want to send their children to public schools. We can manage this at the local level, at the local school board member level.
Yes.
Um, and because I've been tracking the votes for our six school board members for the last 3.5 years, with the exception of one time, they have voted 6-0 on every motion, 6-0 on every motion. The only one time that was that they deviated from that was Sue Ann Witt. She wanted to keep masks on children. So
Oh,
it was a 5-1 vote. But the rest of the time it was unanimous. Every time, every motion. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very important to be at the a school board member at the local level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, Lone. So we've been talking, it's been, almost just under an hour. This has
Oh,
been so informative, even more so than what I thought,
oh,
that so many parents that they don't really know what to do or they don't really know the system. This is going to
right.
give people so many, great tools that you can look at your YouTube, they can start researching what their schools are spending. This is a great
Yes.
informational piece for so many people.
Oh, yes. And so, no, I have, thank you very much for asking me because it was totally my pleasure. I just had so much fun. If anybody wants to reach out to me, if I can be of service or assistance, my email address is Loan, LOAN .EBY. So it's 3 letters, elephant, boy, yellow, at gmail.com. I have a YouTube channel, Loan Eby, okay, that I post videos. The other thing that I'm working on is the annual financial report so that anybody, because it's all of this that I do is public record. I mean, you just need to know how to search for it and what the information means. But what I'm working on is showing people the expenses and then also the revenue, and then exploring ways to get revenue for your school district. One of the things that I want to share with people is that the OPPD, Omaha Public Power District, actually provides rebates if school districts are energy efficient.
Oh,
And one of the things that, so in May of 2023, Papillion just passed a bond for $130 million. Yeah, yeah, don't get me started with a special mail-in election, okay? And they're talking about upgrades in terms of lighting, okay? Instead of having that be an expense, school districts can explore revenue opportunities and have rebates if you're energy efficient. But
wow.
again, people don't know that. So going back to your comment, oh, sorry. Going back to
That's
your comment
that's okay.
about being a tax slave, we don't have to be. We can get the system to work for ourselves and to get revenue where we can find it.
Right.
So yeah, so that's also one of the things I'm working on.
That is so great. So great, Loan.
Yeah.
This has just been awesome. I just thank you so much. And you're going to help all the people across Nebraska so much. And
Oh, my
guys,
pleasure.
everybody out there, Loan is somebody you need to know for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If I can help in any way, please let me know.
Awesome. All
All right.
right. Well, great, Loan. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay.